Hello everybody, viewers and subscribers alike, and welcome back to a brand new Doctor Who YouTube video. So today I thought I would do a slightly different video, as most of my recent videos have been mainly unique series which I've planned, such as Right and if Doctor Who was not cancelled. So I did promise quite a lot of individual series from me as well, like exclusive Doctor When series. However, I thought I would do some more traditional videos as well, such as Top 10s. Top 10 is a very common format among Doctor Who YouTube videos, and I thought I would do a top 10 historical episode list. So yes, today I will be telling you my 10 favourite historical episodes from 10th place to 1st place. So overall there have been nearly 40 historical stories, in New Who anyway. There's been a lot more in Classic Who, so if your favourite historical is in my 10th place, that's still pretty good. Comment below with your favourite historical and stay until the end of the video to find out my number 1 spot and a hint at tomorrow's YouTube video. In 10th place I have placed the Pandorica Opens and the Big Bang. So this isn't really a traditional historical episode in the sense that it is a 2-part season finale with a much more complicated plot than most historicals. It isn't exactly a story that immediately comes to mind when you hear the phrase Doctor Who historical episode. You'd picture things such as The Witchfinders or The Unquiet Dead, things like that. Anyway, the story is insane and yet so much fun, Moffat showing his true potential with how complex and interlinked his plots can get, with a smaller scale finale that is really good. The historical aspects of this are passable, with the first part being set in the Roman Empire and the second part being set in 1996, which isn't that historical, I suppose. This aside, this is a great story that I would give a 9 out of 10. It is brilliant. Now, on to 9th place we have Let's Kill Hitler. Most people really hate or at least dislike this story, and I can see why, but I still find the story to be so fun and entertaining to watch, flaws aside. The historical aspects of this story don't really mean anything. The story could be set in any place or time and would work. The only real reason why it is set in Nazi Germany is that the title could be a gimmick, really. The story itself is amazing, however, with an interesting villain in the form of the Tesseract, and some great character moments between the Doctor and the newly regenerated River Song. I would also give this story a 9 out of 10. In 8th place, I have placed the Series 9 2-part story, Under the Lake and Before the Flood. Again, this is not a traditional historical story, only the second part is set in the past and historical elements do not influence the story very much. However, this does have some really interesting ideas actually, I think, with part 1 being set in the fallout of a disaster and part 2 showing its cause. It's a really creative idea. So yeah, I do actually think that it's a really creative concept and I like it. This is also the only story where I really begin to like the 12th Doctor more than I did in Series 8. In Series 8 he was great, yes, but this is where I think he began to creep up my rankings, and by heaven sent he would have progressed to 1st place because Peter Capaldi is such a good actor and he really showcases it a lot in this story. Anyway, the only setback for this story really is Clara, but overall it is still a really strong 2-parter. I would coincidentally also give this a 9 out of 10. Now on to 7th place, I have chosen The Girl in the Fireplace. The historical elements of this story are very prominent, with around 2/3 of it being set in 18th century France. Stephen Moffat, the writer, did have some very creative concepts writing this, such as a ship collecting data from a random point in Earth's history, using portals and different speeds of time, and I really enjoyed the timey-wiminess of this story. Also, Rose and Mickey do have some great character moments, as this is Mickey's first adventure really in the TARDIS. I would also give this story a 9 out of 10. Now in 6th place I have chosen The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances, the first traditional historical on this list. It is set in war-torn London in 1943 and has one of the best and scariest villains of Doctor Who of all time. The Empty Child, he is an amazing villain and creates so many moments of horror and suspense within the story, and I really love it. Also, Captain Jack, one of the programme's most liked characters ever, is introduced, and he is just as hilarious as he is in any other story, whether it be Revolution of the Daleks, Fugitive of the Judoon, any other story he's in, he is brilliant. I would give this story a 9 out of 10 as well. In 5th place, I have decided to put the 2007 story Human Nature and the Family of Blood. This is set in a boarding school in 1912 and sees the Doctor use a chameleon arch to erase his memories and make him think he's a human called John Smith. The story does have some great character moments with John Smith and Martha, and an interesting set of villains in the form of a family of blood. I definitely give this a 9.5 out of 10. In 4th place is the series 7A episode A Town Called Mercy. This is set in the west of America in the late 19th century and feels a lot like a sort of, it gives a very western tone to it, which I actually really enjoy. It's very fun to watch. The cyborg villain is incredibly creepy, and I do love the plot twist where it turns out that he isn't actually that bad. Also, the cinematography in this episode is incredible, and the visuals are actually really stunning. This episode also teases Amy and Rory's departure a lot, so yes, I would definitely give this a 9.5 out of 10. This is amazing. Now onto the top 3. In 3rd place we have the only Classic Who story to make it into my top 10. Bear in mind I haven't seen all of Classic Who yet. This story is the Time Warrior. This season 11 story changes pretty much everything except the Doctor. We have a new companion in the form of Sarah Jane Smith, who is brilliant, and the general feel and tone of the stories shift a lot in this, and the season as a whole is actually really great, I think. Also, the Sontarans are introduced in this story through Commander Lynx, who is making weapons for a medieval lord known as Irongron, who is hilarious and so entertaining to watch. This story is where the 3rd Doctor is at his absolute best, 9.5 out of 10. So in 2nd place, into the top 2 now, missing the top spot by not that much actually, this Series 6 premiere, The Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon. This started off as a crazily complex storyline that you need a few rewatches to fully understand. I still don't think I understand the entire Series 6 arc then, but River Song is a delight in this story and the silents are amazing. Sadly, the historical elements of this story aren't too prominent, but I do love the story all the same and would probably give it a rounded 10 out of 10. Before I reveal the top spot, here are some very honourable mentions, historical stories I still love but just quite didn't make it into the top 10. Here they are: Rosa, The King's Demons, and The Stones of Blood. All of these I think are very, very good stories, and sadly they didn't quite make it into the top 10, but they were very close. They were 13th, 12th, and The Stones of Blood is 11th. So, finally, in 1st place, my favourite historical of all time is Twice Upon a Time. If you have been subscribed to my channel for a while, you will know my preferences in stories and how much I love the 2017 Christmas special. This is Peter Capaldi's final episode as the 12th Doctor, and it was so sad to see my favourite Doctor regenerate. However, this has some excellent character moments between the 12th and 1st Doctors, and David Bradley is the perfect choice to replace William Hartnell as the 1st Doctor. This story is definitely a 10 out of 10, and I believe it genuinely has nothing wrong with it. It is an absolutely perfect story, alongside Heaven Sent and World Enough and Time the Doctor Falls. Those 3 are my 3 favourite stories, probably. Anyway, that is all I have for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed this top 10, and I might do another top 10 or ranking in a few weeks' time, who knows. Please like if you enjoyed this video, and comment below with your favourite historical episodes. Tomorrow I will continue my series What If Doctor Who Wasn't Cancelled with part 4, where I explore the new 10th and 11th Doctors, which I will upload at 9 PM GMT. Thank you for watching everybody, and goodbye.